Hello, everyone. Welcome to Brine and Blight. This is an original Underwater Revolution Cypher System campaign brought to you by TricksyWizard. All of these wonderful people that you see on the screen, I love them a lot. Yep.
Wow.
I'm so excited that you are all here to watch our next episode of Brine and Blight. Before we hop into it, I just want to say real quick thank you to all of our Patreons. Because of our Patreons, we're able to do everything that we do at this channel. All of our one-shots, three-shots, marathons, campaigns, everything. So thank you very much. And we're gonna you can find all of our episodes over on our YouTube for both Brine and Blight and all of our other campaigns. You can use !YouTube in chat for the link there. We will go ahead and jump right into it. Please tell me who you are, where we can find you, and tell me a little something about your character. And we'll start off with Christian.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian, better known as Kappa in most online spaces. You can find me at your local game store buying too many magic card packs. I have a real job and I have disposable income, which I use recklessly. I play Risubi. I play Risubi, the perceptive warrior who needs no weapon and is alive? ? Oh my god!
Do you think that if Risubi came into contact with Magic the Gathering, that Risubi would play? And if so, what kind of deck would Risubi play?
I mean, on theme, probably a mech deck. It just kind of makes sense. He's a pilot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll hop on over to Z.
Hi, I'm Z, aka Zach. You can find me on Twitter at ZachDevs. Today I am playing Calliope, the sharp-eyed adept who fuses mind and machine. I got it this time. Yeah. Was I supposed to say something else? Fact? Okay.
Yeah, you could say whatever you want.
Yeah. They have a stomach. It's a bioconverter. It's technological. They eat food. It turns into energy. But not that much. It's mostly a social thing.
I love it.
It's good to have a snack with your butts.
Yeah. I know you said buds, but the subtitle
It sounded
said
like butts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, moving on. Next we have Jay. Jay is unfortunately unable to join us right now. We want to say that we hope that Jay is having a great time over and abroad, and I believe that you will be able to find Jay at GDC if you're in the area, so please say hi. Let them know that you're enjoying Brine and Blight. I think that would make their day. And you can find Jay at all of the links there in chat, twitter.com at thatjjustice. And then I'll go ahead and say, I'm playing Berengaria today. I am a kind speaker who not really controls, I ask really nicely, beasts. My fun fact for the day is that Berengaria is left-handed, just like Stella. Yeah.
But does Berengaria have a stomach? We need to know, because
yes,
we're all saying whether we have them now.
It hasn't been scientifically proven whether or not. I mean, I guess Calliope would know.
Calliope knows and will not share the dark truth.
It's a doctor-patient confidentiality something. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then we'll hop on over to TricksyWizard. Trout, why don't you start us off?
Hi, I'm Trout. My partner Adam and I make TricksyWizard comics. Today I'm playing Bunk, a blue-tongued skink lizard cowboy. In-game is a brash sniper who's wanted by the law, getting a little more wanted by the law every day that I'm allowed to do things. And last week, my friends convinced me that I should do fewer reckless things and instead stay alive with all of them, and it was a pretty lovely time. And I will throw it over to my partner in life and in work, Adam.
In life and in work.
And
Hi,
in
Adam.
work.
And in work. I'm Adam on the other half of TricksyWizard. You can find us at TricksyWizard on all socials, TricksyWizard.com. We do a lot of illustrations, contract work. We do comics every once in a while, and also we made a card game with our friends over at Mage Hand Press. It's called Witchy Cakes. It's a towering game of cakes and chaos, and it was successfully funded on Kickstarter back in February. So very, very excited about that. Be on the lookout for more updates there. I'm going to be running the game tonight, and also every other night that we play this game. So,
Bold claims.
I will challenge that.
Dude, I have a stomach too. Adam, do you have one?
You can't prove that I don't. So, how are y'all feeling? Do we want to play some Cypher? Want to play some?
Yes.
Brine Blight?
Yeah.
Did you see? I don't know if you saw, Adam, but I did a pantomime of me holding my witchy cake, and it's sort of running away from me. It's toppling,
Oh,
and I'm
and you were
getting it.
doing like a.
I want.
Wow.
Is that
I'll
good?
catch it on the VOD.
We'll
Tell
do
you
that.
That's what I'll do.
Awesome.
You can
ready,
find
though.
all Brine Blight VODs over on our YouTube.
All right. But if we're all ready, let's pick back up where we left off. There's a bit of a recap here. Kind of get us all up to speed.
Yes.
So just a moment. Meribas, capital city of the aquatic kingdom of Sonaspar, has just been rocked by the largest display of civil unrest in almost 50 years. In the wake of several acts of vandalism, assault, sabotage, and incitement against the occupying Valthuran Empire, a long simmering powder keg has finally blown, and what began as a labor strike at the Metropolitan Coralite Refinery has resulted in an act of retaliatory violence the likes of which hasn't been seen since the end of the Amphibian Wars. Our fledgling revolutionaries, Bunk, Berengaria, Bahari, Calliope, and Risubi, arrived on the scene of the protest just as the Valthuran Navy began its push to quell the unrest, and with the party's help, the assembled crowds of workers and their allies easily rebuffed the initial assault. Unfortunately, the victory was short-lived, and the arrival of the infamous Commander Ludo Marianus and his Hammerhead Battalion heralded a terrible shift in the tides of battle. With a single volley of coralite-infused plasma, one of the Hammerhead mechs fully dismantled Risubi's crustacean exoskeleton, leaving it a smoldering inert husk. In order to prevent the Empire from salvaging her friend's technology, Bahari was forced to destroy it instead, by detonating raw crystallized coralite and overloading the Imperial Engineers' equipment. Meanwhile, the remaining civilians on the scene were quickly routed, scattering under the advance of the Empire's terrible military might, and Bunk, all too ready to throw their life away for the slightest chance at revenge on the man who killed their father, transmitted a bittersweet farewell to Berengaria before destroying their own communicator earpiece. And worse still, Bahari and Berengaria, in their attempt to escape on the back of Soy Sauce the Tiger Shark, were struck by several shots from a pair of pursuing Hammerhead mechs, leaving them immobilized and vulnerable. But just as all seemed lost, a pair of extraordinary events saw our heroes out alive. First, Calliope tracked Bunk down seconds before they committed to their doomed charge, and in the midst of the crumbling industrial chaos, the two found a moment of solidarity and the resolve to leave together and live another day, with the promise that when battle was joined once more, Bunk would not let Marianus slip away again. And second, Bahari and Berengaria, in their moment of peril, somehow triggered a powerful reaction between their latent abilities. Bahari's phase-shifting powers, influenced by Berengaria's innate connection to Coralite, were temporarily empowered beyond anything either had experienced before, and the pair were instantly transported along with the injured Soy Sauce to a hidden alcove hundreds of meters away. After our heroes, minus the still missing Risubi, were reunited in the aftermath, they made their hasty escape as the Empire began instituting martial law throughout the Dorsal District. Along the way, they were flagged down by a refinery worker who had discovered Rhoda, the party's adoptive aunt and stalwart ally, on death's door, riddled with plasma in the crossfire. One daring last-second surgery later, and the party finally found shelter at what had once been the local underground fighting pit, now a bunker, located inside the shell of a gargantuan fossilized clamshell. Even Risubi arrived in short order, having hijacked a heavily damaged Hammerhead mech and piloted its shambling, malfunctioning chassis all the way to safety. Now, we rejoin our shell-shocked saboteurs in the hours before dawn the following day, having rested and tended to their wounds as best they could manage, as they deliberate their next moves. So we rejoin the five of you here. Rhoda is still unconscious, recovering, bandaged up from the site of the various incisions that were made during Calliope, the sort of emergency alleyway surgery you had to perform. You all can make use of whatever rests you had left to go ahead and roll d6s and try and restore some of your depleted stat pools.
Has Risubi just arrived, or have we skipped a little bit?
We can play it out as though Risubi's just arrived, but I will say, please go ahead and rolling now and assume that you get a 10-hour or 8-hour rest, basically, so you can reset those recovery rolls. But yeah, let's go ahead and say that the crowd is absolutely panicked at the arrival of a Hammerhead mech, which wrenches open the mouth of this clamshell just to topple inside and fall apart as a tiny squirrel skitters out from the wreckage.
Calliope is going to hold out the hands, pulse on over, and scoop up Risubi after he has just spilled out of the mech.
I point of order really quick. How much damage did Risubi take from the blast?
So I'm treating it, for all intents and purposes, as though your might pool is the health of your mech.
Okay.
And if the might pool hits 0, then the mech is inoperable.
Great.
And Risubi the squirrel has 1 might. Does that make sense?
Great. Okay. So
treat that as the situation here. Yeah.
Okay. I remember watching the VOD and it was like 17 damage. Risubi passes out of the hammerhead into your hands, Calliope, as I think I was brought down to like 3.
Yeah.
3 total out of my all 3 of my pools. I think I was brought down to 3. So it's rough.
Oh. Yeah, no, not a great time.
It's
So
not
it's
good.
rough.
I will swim up to join them. Absolutely. Oh my god.
Calliope's gonna like clear a table and beckon Bunk and Berengaria and Bahari over.
What's happening? Oh!
I don't think they got a dry room here. We got to get him some air. Real air, not recycled crap.
Calliope, I guess this is technically possible that they can create a sort of an air tunnel for now with a finger or two over.
You could basically, okay.
Yeah.
This would basically be you manipulating your medical tools that are inherent to your chassis to try and basically create an area of basically like of gaseous oxygen, effectively.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
I will
this.
say this. Yeah, this is going to be an intellect roll. This is going to be difficulty 4. This is something that is not how your tools are intended to be used. So this is the sort of thing that even though you're an expert with the tools that make up your body, this is something you can't guarantee success at.
Yeah.
Can I help make that a little easier?
I think anyone could help insofar as if they could basically like hold little squirrel Risubi steady to give Calliope both of their hands free so that they could try and stabilize the field. That would take it down to a 3.
3 using effort on my good friend.
Can I do something actually bananas? Oh wait, maybe this will just work.
Real bananas?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I pull out a banana.
Yes, no. So I saw your roll. That is a 5, right? So that's going to be a failure. Bunk, what is it that you're going to try and do? As you can see, Calliope struggling in this moment to try and generate some kind of unstable airfield.
Calliope's like going like he's too small. Water keeps slipping through.
Is there anything dry left on Risubi, even just inside the suit or anything?
I'll leave that up to you. So Kappa, how does
Yeah.
Vesuvi normally function when out of suit?
When out of suit, it's very much like a scuba suit. There's a tank that will filter oxygen, not 100% efficiently, but there's a small tank that will keep him breathing until he can get to the next dry area. There is a helmet that covers the front so that water won't seep in. Yeah, and there's I don't know if you can, is it in the art? I can't remember, but his tail is out, just kind of like
All right. So there's-
swishing in the water.
All right, I have an idea. This is gonna hurt me a lot. Adam, I'm gonna pull out the pistol that I stole when we robbed that cop in the jail. I'm gonna barehand that coralite core inside the pistol, and I'm gonna reach my hand into the dry area and try and shake it up in front of Vesuvi's nose, trying to basically cause it to start burning my skin a little bit and give him some smoke, maybe to choke on in this dry thing to try and get him to breathe.
Trying to get him to wake up.
Yeah, I'm trying to at least make him breathe regularly if I can. Maybe
Okay.
keep things going. Yeah. Basically just cauterizing my own skin to make something burn because I can't figure out what else would burn in water.
Interesting.
That
is extreme.
The only problem I would say is that Vesuvi is in a sort of self-contained airtight system.
I can't get in there. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I could think to do.
Yeah. For the record, Vesuvi, are you?
I'm not
still
dead.
breathing?
Yeah,
You're
I
not
can
dead.
still.
Oh, thank
I
God.
can still
Okay.
breathe.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
have
not like
three.
it's-
Yeah,
I
I
was
have 3
worrying
hit
it was
points.
way more dire than it was. Okay,
No,
good.
I'm not dying. It's just
No,
I'm going to
basically,
need
you're all
the
just-
full 10 hours.
Yeah. What I'll say
And-
is, yeah, you
and
all are just instinctively doting on this poor tiny squirrel who looks exhausted.
Then
Although
instead-
I think you may be overreacting.
Yeah.
Then instead of burning my skin off, and I think maybe I'll just tell the party we need to get somewhere dry to give him a place to properly recover because he's not going to be able to recover fully in a suit like this. I could go and scope out his hidey hole and make sure it's safe. We can get him back there to rest. Though I will say that Detective Belisar is aware of that place.
Then you shouldn't go alone. I can watch him. If you and Berengaria feel safe, Bahari and I can sit here and watch Vesuvi, and we can stay on comms.
I think that works.
Comms. Right.
Oh, I can stay on comms with Berengaria.
Bunk pulls out their very broken comm and hands it to Calliope.
Can I roll to fix that with my mechanical repair skill?
Oh,
You,
Adam, muted.
Muted.
Oh, am I muted?
Oh, there you go.
No, you're good.
Okay, good. Oh shoot.
Ooh.
So sorry about that. Okay, let's see. Bunk, go ahead and just roll a fate roll here, d20, to see if you can determine how badly you broke this, and then that will determine the difficulty level.
Roll low, please.
Oh, okay. Just a D20, Adam? That's all you want?
Yep.
Okay.
Natural 20. Nope. 13.
13.
All right, so this is going to be an intellect task-based difficulty 4,
Yes,
which your
difficulty
training reduces down to 3. So there.
Mhm. Difficulty 4. Effort to roll, of course.
Of course.
Take
Of
that down to a
course.
2. Okay.
Easy.
Well,
Fantastic. All right. So on a success, you are able, over the course of, I would say, basically an hour of focusing on this task, you would be able to basically integrate all of the components of the sort of earpiece communicator. Basically, you would absorb it into your arm, and then kind of your internal machinery would be kind of reconstructing it, and you could basically kind of produce it back out onto your fingertips to return to them.
I'm going to say that this works, but Bunk is picking up a little bit of FM radio, and it's squealy meedly, dad rock guitar, and they don't tell anybody, and it just makes them feel really cool.
Living on a prayer.
Yeah, if you turn your head a little bit, it turns a little bit into talk radio for a second.
Oh,
So
no.
there's So for a while, Bunk is like slightly turned to the left at all times.
They look very appraising and
Yeah.
don't explain why this is happening.
Side-eyeing everybody so they can get a little more like clarity of the
more
signal.
dad rock.
Yeah, a little more dad rock. Okay, so is there like, what I would say is, as far as Risubi's ability to go for extended periods without sort of like dry dock, what's your typical sort of routine here? Are we going on like a 16-hour sort of refresh rule or what?
Oh, who? Risubi?
Yeah, basically like, and your day-to-day, how frequently does Risubi have to return to a dry dock space in order to like refresh oxygen?
I would say he's worked on it, the efficiency of the oxygen conversion, so he can stay in the mech for a fair, like almost a full 24 to 30 hours. But outside of it, the suit can probably give him like 3 hours, and then maximum from there, before he needs to either replenish the canister or you know, go back to base to
Gotcha.
restock.
Okay. Just to be safe then, Adam, because it's been like a while, can I trade tanks with Risubi before I go?
His tank is so tiny. If you were to try and put yours on, it would literally
Can I
be
siphon
like 3
it?
times his size. You could. Let me say this.
It's like one of those CO2 canisters. Just...
Yeah, this is like a tiny little like AA battery sized tank. You could absolutely, let's make this kind of like, you have leisure domain, so I won't even make you do this. This would be like an easy sleight of hand sort of thing for you to sort of basically siphon off a little bit of your oxygen tank to keep him. So I will say, with that and with your tanks as replenished as they are, Bunk, you do not need to get Risubi to a dry dock space in order for him to recover.
Good. That helps. Okay.
So you can take the full recovery time. You all can like lay low here for a while, which is probably for the best, because outside the neighborhood is nigh on deserted, and anyone who pokes their head out can see that there are these plumes of this acrid sort of like chemical smoke just wafting and diffusing into the water from the refinery, and that's visible from basically everywhere in the dorsal district. And overhead, I mean, it's clear to see to anybody here that there are like these silhouettes of Valthuran submersibles that are just basically ever present against the sort of discolored water above, and there's really no telling when or if the streets are going to be safe to swim again here.
Berengaria has her face up against one of the portholes, and like her nose is smushed against the glass, and she says, "Bunk, I don't think that we should go out there right now. We should probably stay in here. There's a lot of activity."
I know you're right, but Kay Pollock's got left at Risubi's, and if that detective knows where that is, Kay's not in any position to fight.
All right. Well, if you're intending on going, then I don't want you to go alone.
No, Barry, I'm just letting you know I'm scared. I promised Calliope I wouldn't do nothing reckless for the rest of the day, at least.
Adam, on the way here, what would I have noticed about the general, environment? I think you're muted again.
An idea of what you were dealing with on your way here. You successfully, upon the destruction of your mech, were able to crawl up inside and under the armor plating of the hammerhead that had attacked you, and just started chewing on wires, basically.
Yes.
So you got into like the sort of like airtight, vacuum sealed portion of it and started just like causing mechanical failure to the point that you annoyed the pilot enough that they ejected. And from there, you were kind of ratatouilleing this thing across the city. So I'm going to say that to get a retroactive sense of what you saw on the way there, it's going to be an intellect task for just kind of like perceptiveness, and that's going to be base difficulty 5.
Okay, that's cool. I will. It's a base difficulty 5. I'd like to apply my skills of making deductions and eye for detail, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll take you down to a 4.
Okay. Oh, Cancel. That was I reduced it down too much. Down to a 4. I will roll 4. Submit. I rolled a 4.
Oh, okay. What I will say then is that you basically were able to like poke your little squirrel head up over like the rim to kind of see out the sort of like glass cockpit, just often enough for you to not run into buildings, and you couldn't see basically anything else on the way here.
Got it. I was too busy trying to not die. Okay, cool. I think I will just conscious of most of like what's going on, just go you hear from the little vocal processor on Risubi's suit, just, Trout, do not worry, I just need rest. And it's weird because Risubi doesn't like speak and use words, so it's just a passed out squirrel just kind of talking, like weakly opening the eyes.
Yeah, Bunk will just kind of like stay by Risubi's side a little bit, like, and make sure that the recovery space is just comfortable. Bunk is pretty used to laying out places for people to heal or to die. So
is everybody okay?
Not too many injuries. Rhoda took the worst of it, looks like, but thanks to Calliope being real quick, I think, well, that's not to negate what you've been through, friend. Look at you. They crisp you right up.
I will be fine. The mech is just pieces. Machinery.
I forgot what you told me at the parade. To think about other people. I almost did something stupid. I'm sorry about it. It was disrespectful of you and the trust you put in me.
As long as you're okay.
You don't gotta salt the wound, damn it.
And here we are. Berengaria unfurls a little seaweed blanket that she's knitted together.
Everything can be solved with kelp.
Just puts a little blankie on you.
I love it so much.
I'm so glad.
Very cozy little corner of this place, but the situation inside this sort of like former fighting arena is otherwise like barely contained chaos. There's about 100 other displaced or like injured people from the wider district who are kind of crowded in here, and they've like packed the bleachers. It's like standing room only. Normally, Risubi, if you've been in this space, you see it from a much higher vantage point, and you never see it this crowded except on like big prize fight nights. So I'll say you all can definitely hear just like the collective sort of like whispering and murmuring and like the hushed conversations from all of the assembled people here. And you can't make out any individual thing, but it all kind of compounds. Like it's, one of those things where everyone's whispering, but collectively it's rather loud and distracting. You can also see that the central boxing ring-like arena has kind of remained clear, and there's like stockpiles of supplies that are slowly growing over there, and there's ample space for people who are going to get their wounds bandaged up. There's like this collective kind of like low-level, barely contained panic here as people are just kind of like processing what happened.
I think
Calliope, go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Calliope just sets up a little station for people to come by and get their wounds checked on in the blue corner.
In the blue corner.
In this corner.
I love it.
Scrapes and bruises and minor burns.
Upon noticing, I think Berengaria, one of their skills is discerning the disposition of others. I think it's kind of like a natural ability that she can kind of soak up the vibe of a room, and she's conscious that there is this low whispering, this sense of unease. She'll put her hands on her hips and float up so that she begins to slowly hover down onto the top of a bar or a table. some kind of surface to elevate her, and she will raise her voice and say, excuse me, everyone. Can I have your attention, please? Yeah.
You know what? Baseline, just to see if you can get everyone to kind of pay attention to you here. This is going to be just difficulty for intellect, just kind of general sort of like pleasant social interaction roll. So go ahead and automatically roll that down to a 3.
Okay. Let's see. What else can I do here? All right.
Can I assist by just grabbing like a tin cup from like a water cup or whatever, like, and just banging it on like a stool or something? Or like, no, the triangle, the ding-a-ling-ling.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, like you basically you can like pistol whip like the bell that announces rounds.
Oh, it looks so cool, and it's right when a guitar solo starts in my ear, so I feel amazing.
Yeah, Bunk looks a little too self-satisfied. That'll help bring it down to a 2.
Okay. I will use 1 effort here. Wow, I rolled a nat 20.
Oh my God, Daddy! Daddy!
In fact, this is so successful that you do not need to make any further rolls. You get everyone's attention completely and can, like, the entire room quiets. All eyes are on you.
Okay. So I would essentially like to use my ability Anecdote, and I wish to lift the spirits of a group of creatures and help them bond together with an entertaining or uplifting pointed anecdote. And essentially what I want to do here is I will address everyone at large and say, I know you might be afraid. There are many terrible things going on throughout Sonaspar right now, throughout Marabas. But the most important thing is that you're not alone. Every single one of us here has something to lose. Every single person here is afraid. There is something that the Valthurans can't take from us, and it is our community. It is being there for everyone around you. We have resources. My dear friend Calliope in the blue corner, if you have any injuries or wounds or aches, please head over there. Calliope will look over you. And over here, Bahari has so many snacks. If you're hungry, we've brought some rations and we'll spare whatever we can.
Can I pipe up there and just help with? And you've got more to give, now's the time. If you need an escort to get to your home to bring what you can, let's feed our people, all right?
We can work together.
I absolutely love this. And yes, Bahari does have maybe not enough to feed like 100 people
No.
snacks, but
No.
she's definitely like, even given everything that's happened, like fairly well stocked.
It's
for
not-
big pocket.
It's not like a Jesus Christ situation.
I was hoping someone else would say it.
Bahari
I was
fed
about to make that same
200
comment.
souls with a
Epic
single
Jesus
pocket full of
reference.
snacks. Yeah. No, but like, you know, she does eagerly like look for an opportunity to help out. Absolutely.
Like a full
Okay.
pizza's coming out of that flap.
I will say that you have on a nat 20 actually permanently increased the standing of your group here in the mind of the Dorsal District. You basically have solidified all of the work that you all have previously done, and it's crystallized into you all basically becoming like minor folk heroes in this in the north of the city. Like, people know you, they know your faces, they understand your connection to events that have happened and your relationship to people being safe who otherwise might not have been safe. So in this moment, you basically kind of take control of the situation and calm a lot of that sort of latent fear.
And if
So cool.
anyone needs any hugs, I've got so many. I'll be right here. Okay? And I'll hop down.
That's so cool. That's so like, oh my God.
Can I just say I love anecdotes so much.
Yeah,
I
anecdote
know.
is
Such a
very
good
good.
skill.
So cool.
So for the next hour, anyone who pays attention, trained in a task I choose related to anecdote, as long as it's not attack or defense. Essentially, I think what I want to do here is inspire confidence. So believing in yourself. Anyone who wants to believe in themselves will receive a skill point essentially for the next hour.
Wow.
Love that. That's so good.
Oh
Anyone
my God.
who needs to like pluck up their courage or muster their sense of yeah. So for the next hour, I would say like everyone kind of needs to do that as a prerequisite to just kind of like survive right now. So you make everyone feel a little bit more at ease. The space kind of like calms down. And actually, people are starting to try and look for normalcy in this moment. So you can see that like, you know, the lines towards sort of like, you know, rations, the lines that form towards, you know, is like a crowd amassing to try and get medical attention. It becomes a little bit more orderly. You can see Vin actually starts messing around. Vin Marinthos, the sort of proprietor of this particular little establishment, starts messing around with like a remote control looking device, twisting some knobs and pointing up at what looks like there's like a Jumbotron style, like display that it's a monitor, usually just displays like betting odds and puts up little like hype reels for popular fighters on big nights, but it kind of buzzes to life, and he's kind of like flitting between different like static patterns for a moment before eventually it kind of settles on an MNBS news broadcast. Everybody who's kind of quieted themselves, they become even a little more focused here as the faces turn upward and they start watching the coverage. And there are a couple of anchors here. It's not Marabas Tonight. It's like a little more like the morning edition. One of the anchors is like this sort of squid-like merfolk, very, very smartly dressed, hair up in a bun. Coming up on Good Morning Marabas. Disaster in the Dorsal District. Authorities are still assessing the damage after hundreds of violent anarchists occupied the Metropolitan Coralite Refinery, destroying valuable industrial equipment, stealing untold amounts of dangerous weapons-grade coralite, and opening fire on Imperial peacekeepers. Royal representatives from the Ostara complex say to expect widespread power interruptions in the coming days, up to and including rolling blackouts as the repairs commence. And like immediately there's just like a sort of dull roar of boos from everybody in the crowd as they're like, fuck you! But yeah, like just, it continues though. In the meantime, the Imperial Viceroy Cadmus Kairoulis met today with His Highness the Crown Prince Yoradi Lascaris to discuss questions regarding the state of the alliance between Sonaspar and Valthur. The result? A defiant and unfazed viceroy with a message of unity. Cuts to like interview footage in the Ostara complex, the glitz, the perfect like pearlescent polished backgrounds here of like the throne room of the crown prince, like the royal family of Sonaspar. He's still in his like resplendent sort of golden hard suit with like the crimson cloak, and he's just like in mid sound bite. Like, we cannot and indeed will not suffer these seditious elements to persist with impunity. Rest assured, this latest outrage will be dealt with swiftly and severely. But as important as it is to bring those criminals to justice, it is equally important that we show them, without question, without reservation, that their actions will not scare us into submission. We will not cower, we will not shy away. We will stand together in celebration of our mutual friendship. It is in this spirit that I'm happy to announce that, with the blessing of His Highness the Crown Prince, we will be sponsoring the opening night of La Baleine Volante at the Maristella Opera House, in the heart of downtown Marabas in 1 week's time. I myself will be in attendance, as will the assembled dignitaries of the Royal Council. Truly, it will be a night to remember. And just like people immediately kind of phase out at that point as like no one gives a shit about the viceroy's sort of like pontificating. In the midst of this, Risubi, I mean, you're probably still gleaning all of this, but you're still just kind of like flopped down on your tummy, just sort of like just
no, not on the tummy.
Excluded.
On the tummy. Mm-hmm. It's there's one final story at the end of the sort of news broadcast before everyone just kind of like shouts it down. We turn now to the revered Academy of Schoolmasters, where officials have confirmed the sad news of the death of Dean Anastas Coy. A beloved and respected figure across Sonaspari society, Dean Coy passed away peacefully in his sleep last night at age 59. Academy administrators are saddened at his sudden passing, and pending a memorial service, a hearing is scheduled to discuss the matter of his successor. I need everybody to give me an intellect task roll here. This kind of intuition, your ability to kind of, let's see, an intuition check, let's call it. Intellect task, difficulty 5.
Whoa.
Will this be considered a discerning disposition of others?
100% it is that.
Can I apply Berengaria's buff and also my skill for general knowledge to this role?
I would say everybody can apply the anecdote buff to this. And yes, if you have that skill for general knowledge, I'll allow it. Yeah, this seems like the sort of thing where like this is kind of the situation where it's kind of like a miscellaneous grab bag where that would apply.
Okay.
So that's so base level 5, apply sort of like the sort of blanket buff that everyone gets, take that down to 4, and then anyone who has skills take it down further. Let's see how this shakes out.
Not me. Bunk this whole time, by
14.
the by, because Bunk was not able to do any of the things. Berengar said, like, go here for food, go here for hugs, go here for medical care, and Bunk could not help, but was trying to listen to Berengar and just thinking, I'm more than a gun, I'm more than a gun, I'm more than a gun, and just can't. Just
my heart.
I got you, fam.
Everybody else. Risubi, you see something different here. I think it's more like through this little scouter you have that kind of like shows you. It's almost like you're watching biometric sort of data. It's like it's showing sort of like body language appraisals and sort of like, but for and similarly actually for Calliope, the two, like you're technologically getting some like feedback here. Berengaria, you see that this squid-like anchor, as she says this, the last story, there's like on the bottom of the screen near where like her torso is cut off by the desk, you can see this tiny little tuft of like squid ink that kind of trails off into the water and fades out. And somehow you just know that like that's kind of like a nerves response or like an anxiety response. All three of you glean that basically all of the details of this story are a lie, and she knows it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they lie?
What?
They're lying. Why would they say someone is dead? They're clearly lying, right?
Inference. Weakly from underneath the kelp blanket. Inference. It is a cover-up. Koi was murdered? Perhaps.
Murdered why? Isn't he one of their high-ranking officials?
Calliope puts a hand on Berengaria's shoulder. And I'm so sorry.
No, he can't be dead. There's got to be another reason. He's
Important.
Yeah. Yes. He's the dean of the academy. And I'll be quite honest, he's very agreeable. So I don't think he'd be someone to ruffle any scales.
So he's a high-ranking official. That's a bit of a yes man for Valthur.
Yes.
So why is the official story? So there's more going on here.
Yeah, Rhoda actually slowly kind of comes to for a moment, kind of in and out of consciousness for the past several hours. Oh, wait a minute. And she kind of like squints up at the screen where his like Koi's face is still like, you know, in that very in memoriam, like monochrome, black and white, just portrait of him. Wait, that's the dean?
Yes, that's just Koi.
Oh. He looked familiar. He looks just like this guy. Can came around the shop a couple days ago asking after you, Barry.
Was he okay?
He seemed fine, like a little, skittish. Like, he wasn't dressed as nice. But, that looks just like him. Weird.
Why?
Did he say anything about why he needs Barry? What he wanted?
Just, oh, God, what did you do, Goliath? Oh, like my insights are all, blended. Did you put, never mind.
Calliope swims over, takes a hand off of Berengaria's shoulder, swims over, and is now tending to Rhoda.
Yeah, Rhoda was trying to sit up and was not a good idea. You put it right back down.
Yeah, nope.
Okay, all right, fine. I'm gonna talk like this now. We had an agreement that you weren't. We didn't know each other, right? I never met you, so I kept the story straight. But he seemed real worried about you, is all.
Yeah.
Someone comes around the Lonely Light 2 days ago looking for Berengaria. 2 days later, ends up passing away peacefully. I don't know about that, y'all.
I think as the conversation is trailing in this direction, Berengaria seems to be unable to find any words, and she's just looking at Bunk.
Bunks immediately went into strategy brain and then stopped short when it looked like they're. I'm sorry. If you would like this confirmed, I can find out the truth for you. There's nothing to worry about yet till we know, right?
Right. I guess 2 clams, 1 stone. We
Those poor clams. Clams had a family.
That's good. Yep. Mhm.
That's good.
2 fish, 1 hook.
We go see.
Oh. Oh no.
We go see if Captain Pollux is okay. See if we can follow up something.
Absolutely. You gonna be okay to come with? I'm right by your side the whole time.
Stella looks over at character sheet. Should not be going outside. I'll be fine.
Bunk's gonna just check and see how fine you look.
Do you have access to my character sheet? Hold on. Yes.
I do.
I'm not gonna look at your sheet. I'm just gonna try and see with what Bunk knows about you and
Okay.
about battle injuries.
Live reaction to Berengaria's character sheet. Hold on. Oh.
I'll be fine.
Calliope's just looking. It's just
Yeah, Calliope, you can just use a free scan and just look Berengaria, just see through several different filters, like an X-ray scan, sort of full biometric data.
Yeah, how's your nervous system? Isn't it fried right now?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. There's still this weird sort of after image from your scanner whenever you try and check Berengaria's sort of just the cardiovascular system in particular, all of the sort of the branching veins and arteries. Whenever you kind of do whatever the sort of Android equivalent of blink is, it's it leaves this weird, almost like you're staring at a too bright light. The feedback is almost there's a weird radiation almost, or something akin to radiation coming off of her cardiovascular system.
Yeah. Calliope nods and sort of smiles softly to themselves because it was that discovery a few days ago which led them to do the experimental surgery on Rhoda with using the coralite. But what they're gonna do now is just go up to Berengaria and can I use my... Well, you know what? Calliope's gonna ask Berengaria. Berengaria, you've just been through a lot, physically, and you have heard upsetting news. Is it okay if I tend to your wounds a little bit before we go out?
Yes, and just hold up an arm. It hurts.
Calliope like takes the arm like it's a pool cue, just looking at it.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna use my healing touch, difficulty 2 intellect task. Which...
Just to keep Berengaria distracted while this, just in case this like sucks. I haven't pulled these out on stream, but like the little globes with all the different reefs inside of them, I'll just start playing like, the labyrinth globe thing, like playing in front of Bahari. Like, no, I want you to find the laughing reef. Find the laughing reef. Don't look at Calliope. Look at me now.
Calliope rolled a nat one.
I'm good.
Yeah, but I'm helping.
One.
I'm helping.
Oh, you did?
Well, I'm distracting Berengaria.
It
doesn't like that's
Let
not
it help Adam.
Nothing can help in that
does
one.
not raise the roll.
I gave Berengaria a sticker.
I will say this. I think what maybe happens. Can I narrate my failure here?
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think right now Calliope's sensor is on in the biometric scanner, and in like all this social in this social situation with everything that just happened and with Bunk getting involved, I think like there's little like flares of coralite that kind of distract Calliope a little bit, and they're not able to set the medication to not able to practice medicine properly. In fact, it might even be detrimental to Calliope's scanners. They're probably squinting and looking away a little bit.
I will say that as a free GM intrusion here, you are going to be unable to, like, the interference basically from whenever you try and initiate a medical scan on Berengaria is going to prevent you from using your healing touch on them again for the next several hours. Like it until this cools down, you can't even attempt it. It's not going to work. And whatever happened when Berengaria and Bahari's powers combined, the half-life on that is significant. So you can't tell exactly when you're going to be able to look at her straight.
Can I?
Yeah.
I'll give a tug on Berengaria's pants. Fin.
I think it's a fin. Yeah,
it's a fin.
I got no legs.
Sorry.
Rusubi?
I can go check.
You most certainly cannot.
I am the smallest. You did not notice me escaping before getting ejected? Before the mech was destroyed? I know my way around without getting seen. Before you five, nobody knew what I truly was, because I deemed it so. We can go check on Pollux. And Berengaria. This person is important, but is more important to you. That much is obvious.
Yeah.
We can check.
I didn't always see fish-eye to fish-eye with him, but Anastas Koi is a good man. He means well. He's just... You know how it is with the Valthurans.
I think everyone here does.
Calliope does some above world sign language to Bunk, like, he was kind of a dick sometimes.
Bunk will just look to Rasubi like, I think that even if you do Trout to go alone, I'm going right behind you. And I was the least injured, I think, potentially of all of us in that scrap, even though I deserve far worse. So I will be going with you, just make sure that we both come back.
The surface folks stick together.
And I mean, you don't have to, but you could also wear the blanket I made you as a cloak.
I have it like draped over.
Yeah.
Like,
That's fantastic.
yes.
So
the very worst,
straight
it could
then.
be just a floating piece of kelp.
So is this Risubi and Bunk are going to what? You're going to go and check on.
Pollux,
Pollux first.
and then see what
Okay.
we can find about Anastas Koi.
Okay.
I don't. Just really quickly, Anastas, worked in the Oasis, I'm assuming, Berengaria, worked with you?
Yes. He's the dean of the academy.
You have any way to access to get into his office?
I mean, I reach over and I open my giant clamshell briefcase. I rummage around, some debris kind of flying out.
Oh shit, is that a fried dough?
Here, this pendant is worn by the schoolmasters. It could get you in through the front door if that's the way you want to go, but I don't know.
Definitely look into my friends here. This is the toughest facility. I've never really been able to crack into it before.
Oh,
It's dangerous for me to go, frankly. So I've never really tried.
The Oasis is where my secret hideout is attached to, right?
Right, so just to kind of refresher here, the center sort of spoke of the sort of wheel-like city of Marabas is this large earth and stone mound that is sort of hollowed out, and there's a bunch of sort of like buildings internal to that kind of erupt out of that earthen mound, and that's called the Oasis. All of the structures that are built inside that sort of bit of sort of like the crust at the seafloor most of them are sort of like dry areas that are administrative, scientific, security related. It's basically the epicenter for the direct government of the seafloor city. It's also out of the Oasis that the giant sort of tube, the pipeline called the Torch, that all the refined coralite passes through on its way up to the Ostara complex, where Valthur kind of collects and then ships off like refined coralite off to its sort of various installations around the world. So it's like the center of the city.
Just to make sure I super understand, we've always gone in like a secret back way to get to Rasubi's. I've never like walked in the front door before.
There are two places, you want to go right now. The first is Rasubi's secret hideout, which is kind of nestled into the sort of like mechanical guts of the inside of the Oasis. You would enter through a sort of like what looked like an old derelict ventilation shaft, and you would meander through a labyrinth of different sort of like crawl spaces and hideaways until you reached basically a place where you rose up out of the water into a dry space, and he had made a little home for himself and his mech suits there in this sort of like dry nook. The other place you were looking to go is the Academy of Schoolmasters, which is like a big domed structure that juts off the side of the Oasis and has a lot of like artificial sun lamps, and basically it's like always daytime there. It's like a full university campus that is a place that is used for study, rehabilitation, and like just ecological studies. It's where the schoolmasters, who are like the caretakers of the ocean life in Sonaspar, it's an ancient and storied institution that far has been longer there since like for centuries before the Empire came. So they're like one of the last vestiges of like what the old institutions were before the occupation. And yeah, Anastas Koi's office was at the top of the main sort of like administration building inside that domed campus.
I feel like I can get you guys a little help with this operation. Adam, among the people in this auditorium right now, marooned here,
Mm-hmm.
any little guys? Any familiar
Ooh-wee. Oh my!
little guys?
Funny you should ask. Just wafting around, like just kind of like doing little loop-de-loops through all of the sort of like the gaps in the sort of like scaffolding and like the light rigging. Just kind of like swirling around up there is a gaggle of tiny little urchins, little sea urchin folk with their little spindly top hats and their little raggedy ragamuffin clothes. You can flag them down if you want.
Yeah, Calliope does our signature whistle song.
We call them in the expected "What's all this then?" They have to call in response.
Yeah, you say, well, and they say, what's all this then? And they, as a group, all of their spiny heads just kind of clustered and stuck together. They waft down and kind of hover in front of you. Oh yeah, I've got to see you. Glad you made it out of the frying pan into the fire, eh? What?
Evening, gents. If I may introduce you all. Berengario, Bunk, Bahari, Rasubi. These all are my trusted confidants. And I lean into my party. I pay them to do crimes for me sometimes.
You hear that, you lot? Trusted confidants, we are.
Trusted confidants, eh?
There's the tiny little one with like a little like hand rolled up fake cigar, just kind of puff. Like
Yeah, chew on that one for a while, yeah.
so. What would it be that you need us to accomplish for you today? Any illicit dealings? Any kind of infiltrations? Would you like us to nick something and grab it for you? A little bit of dumpster diving?
More of
You paint
a...
them in knuckles, Calliope?
Sometimes, candy has worked in the past.
We're not picky. Mostly we just like doing the mischief. But never work for free.
Can I recommend something then? Since this seems like a great idea for scouting. If we're hitting the Oasis complex proper, I think we should all be at our best. I think we should go together. I don't know if I think we should split up now. Not when they're all looking for us individually, strength in numbers. Why don't we have your little friends here scout for us? See what's going on at the schoolmasters, and we can go when everyone's fresh tomorrow. Give things a chance to quiet down, you know?
Can you do that?
I think that would be wise.
That was different for me.
Yeah.
So-
So Calliope asked the urchins, can you do that? Can you scout ahead?
Now, when you say scout ahead, what are you looking for? Tail somebody, tell you where they're moving? Are you saying, just kind of scrabble around and see if you can't find us a way in? And where and why and how and who?
Okay. The details, I'm going to be honest. It's the Academy of Schoolmasters.
Oh, high society, like, okay.
Yes. We need a way in. We do to the Dean's chambers, if possible, without getting
You do
spotted.
realise we're just like freaky little guys that kind of rummage around in the trash, right? You know, that's like what we do.
Right.
I am able to gain entry. The air ducts and filtration systems are just like the systems that we used to get around trees and under burrows.
Yeah, no, if you need us to take a whoopser on down there, check out some air ducts and some filtrations and go through a trash chute or two, we can do that for you, make sure the way's clear.
A clear whoopser would be most appreciated. Last one chopped us up in little bits.
Well, tally ho then. And the five of them are like, well, if there's nothing else, tip top of the surf to you.
One more thing. Calliope gives them a list of just things to fetch. If you can get these, I'll pay you extra. It's medicines, it's foods, that type of thing.
One with a very haunted expression, wearing nothing but a burlap sack that covers most of its tiny little noodle body, and like a little bowler hat that's like just pierced onto a single quill of its head. Just kind of like ghostly wafts forward, grabs it, and wordlessly takes the note and just kind of crumples it up and just stares at the little like wad in its hands. And then wafts back to the group.
That one's killed before. Definitely.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right then, later then.
Goodbye.
And, yeah, they all just stick their heads together and go off on the current and disappear out a little porthole. I think now's as good as any time to take a short break. We can go ahead and return with details that you will have received from your little reconnaissance mission that you sent off, and we can determine how and when and in what order you're going to try and scout out these 2 locations. If that sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Quick
Okay.
5 minutes, and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
And we are back with more of Brine and Blight here, as in the aftermath of the explosive conflict in front of the Metropolitan Coralite Refinery. All of the north end of town here in the Dorsal District, this kind of underserved, poverty-stricken area, already having hard times, is now basically under martial law as the Valthuran Navy has moved in and occupied more and more and more of the area. We return here to this little bit of a bottle episode here inside of an old fossilized gargantuan clamshell, which has been converted to an interior space normally used for prize fights, but now as a bit of a bunker for the sort of displaced, the injured, the refugees of the district. We are going to return here to our assembled freedom fighters who kind of licking their wounds, trying to pick themselves back up. They've just actually contracted a small band of Dickensian street urchins to basically go on a little bit of a stealth recon mission to gather some information for an upcoming mission, as everyone is preparing to go and check on the whereabouts and basically a welfare check on their good friend Captain K. Pollux, who had been holed up in a sort of safe cell, sort of little miniature apartment of sorts in a secret location, which may have been compromised, as well as to see if they could find a way to sneak unseen into the Academy of Schoolmasters to see what really happened around the mysterious death of the sort of dean of Schoolmasters, Anastas Coy. But for now, there's little they can do, as it's, you know, the heat level outside in terms of sort of security presence is massive. It's not safe to kind of go out and swim those streets, and Rhoda still needs tending to in the aftermath of her emergency surgery. So we're going to pick back up here in the midst of the now mostly quelled crowd, as everyone is kind of trying to find a little bit of normalcy in the aftermath of all that trauma. Let's see here. Calliope, you said you'd set up a little bit of a miniature clinic here in what was normally the blue corner of the fighting ring, down in the sort of lower center fighting pit. You've seen to several sort of minor injuries. You set a broken bone or two, and you've tended to some minor sort of plasma burns from just kind of like glancing blows from minor, so like small arms fire from Coralite weaponry. You're on a bit of a break now. What's next? What's next for Calliope?
Calliope, first things first. Since Rhoda, she's starting to look a little bit better. She's kind of fussing a little bit. You know, she keeps trying to get up and talk. Calliope's gonna go over and very subtly, you know, with her IV, Calliope's like, I'm gonna put in some pain medication for you, and this will help ease the pain. And it's true. It also makes Rhoda sleepier. So Calliope, like, the finger turns into a syringe and pushes in the IV. Looking around, Calliope takes a few minutes with just cutting in between. Calliope wrapping people's bandages up, setting bones when needed. There's probably a little Wally moment where Calliope sees like two mer people sitting down that they've already tended to, and they're holding hands, and Calliope looks down and like
Oh my god.
with their own hands.
Wow, how can you do this to me?
I will say you also see too some like small scuffs and scrapes and a couple of like there's like a little terrapin kid, like a little sea turtle folk kid. And you put just like a little sticker band-aid, like just very colorful technicolor band-aid on a little scratch that they got on their shell. And you can tell they're just marveling at your just sick as hell shark tooth decals that are still all over your chassis. And they're like, "You're the coolest doctor ever!"
Want to touch it?
And usually they look over their shoulder at like like their parent, like their mom is there. Is it safe?
It's not too sharp.
Those are real shark teeth?
They're
Nobody's
real.
touching the shark teeth, honey. No, come
Okay,
on.
don't touch the shark teeth.
Just
Listen to mom.
Aw, just take out. So that's
I don't know what I said before that this looks like, but I want to retroactively say, you know, when people have like studs on their leather jackets, that's what
Oh, hell
Calliope's rocking right now.
I love
oh,
that.
hell
Yeah.
Gonna
Shark
die
tooth
historic on the
studs.
Fury Road.
Shiny
Witness
and
me.
chrome.
At some point, Calliope's looking after their friends and notices Berengaria, and knowing that Berengaria just went through something hard, it's like, Berengaria, would you like to swim with me over to the supply stash and help me out with some things?
Yes, of course. I'll be there in a minute. You see that Berengaria was in a conversation with a young turtle person, and they give him a reassuring pat on the shoulder and say, "It'll be all right," and then swim up to you.
Turtle person turns around and says, "Hey, it's the cool doctor!" Anyway, so,
Is the pat on the shoulder like the shell a very hollow sound?
Dunk, dunk.
boom, boom, yeah.
It's an A flat.
Immediately someone picks up like a C harmonica and like a band has
God.
started.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Calliope does the turnaround, cool peace sign to the Terrapin kid, like in Metroid Prime 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And while they're swimming, Calliope says, "B, are you doing okay?"
Yeah, I think so. What about you? What's on your mind?
You know, I feel like the more I learn, the less I know. I have a Valthuran database, you see, and Valthuran directives. So I go around, I heal, because it's the one thing that I can do to help, you know? But-
And you do it well. You look at everyone here. They're doing so much better than they were a few hours ago.
Well, that's thanks to you too, I think. It's the power of the spirit, which a little while ago I wouldn't have believed in. It's not quantifiable. Though I am both magical and technological, it's not something well understood by the scholars of electromechy or anything. There's no discernible evidence that spirit exists, and yet do you know I am friends with you?
Berengaria, if could sweat underwater, would look like she's starting to sweat suddenly. Yes, I thought that we've been friends for a while now.
We have. I would like to say that maybe you're my first friend. Not in the sense that you're the first person I've gone close to. That'll be Bunk. But the first time I didn't even understand it, maybe. I just sort of felt it. That's weird, right? Of an android feeling things.
I don't think that's weird at all. We all feel things differently. We all experience things in our own unique ways. Why would anyone's process or the way they see things, their perspective, why would it be any different from anyone else?
And that's what I mean. The reason I'm friends with you is because the first time we met, after you helped me with no regard to your own safety, and you housed me there at the academy, even though you got some trouble from... anyway. Clive's like, oh, should not mention that name.
There's like a big beaming smile and it's like just slightly so it starts to droop.
You're kind. I remember you had this kelp snacks that you like, and it was hard for you to get them at the time because of circulation and production issues, and you got one bag and very offhandedly tossed some to Frisbee. Weren't even thinking.
They are his
Every time...
favorite.
Exactly, and you know that, and you helped. Every time I have to help anyone, I have to justify it internally. You know, I have to justify to the Valthuran protocols in me that I am not somehow destroying the Empire by helping heal a little terrapin kid, you know, or anything. I guess I'm a doctor because I have medical knowledge, but I like to think that maybe I'm learning kindness from you.
I'm learning a lot from you too. I will have to say though that I think you should give yourself more credit. I wonder if you think that you're limited by what someone else told you or made you to have to adhere by, but I don't think that's true. I think that these limitations that you might have so hard to find in your mind, they're... Anyway, what I mean to say is, from what it sounds like, you're trying to say that, that I can just do these things, that I choose to help and give Frisbee what I've got, and I think we're a lot more alike than you think. It's something that I've been working on too. I don't do these things without a sense of doubt. I wonder if allowing the Valthurans to push their weight around in the academy over the very many years I've been there, I wonder if I've played my hand and I've contributed to that. And sometimes it might feel like we can't make a big change, that the small things add up. And maybe it seems like there's some big set of rules that determine what we can and can't do, but I think the little things matter, and we've just got to work through it. I think growing beyond them is the important part. We make mistakes, we might find it difficult, but I don't think it defines who we are.
Calliope's head is just flashing images of the first time that they scanned Berengaria after the cave incident and saw the glow of energy in them, and then also the Coralite machine that they used without even really truly understanding the science behind it. And Calliope says, you might be right. You've given me something to think about. That there is a force, and that's a big word, that is fed by small actions and has real permeable, tangible effects. And so kindness is something that we do for the sake of feeding it.
You got it.
I like that. Now, there's something that I noticed in you. My biometric scanner. Your energy readings. I can't read them. Your heart rate, your blood pressure
Oh. Is
right now.
that a bad thing?
No. No.
I didn't eat my gummies this morning.
That could be it, but I first noticed it actually back when that detective ambushed you.
Oh. Yeah. Berengaria looks down at her hand. I broke his other hand.
Nice.
I don't... Yeah, he deserved it. I'll be honest. I don't say that often. I don't think that violence should be the answer to most situations, but I kind of didn't have a choice there. Anyway, I don't really know what's been going on recently. I do know that there's something with the Coralites. I suppose there's no harm in telling you. I actually grew up with a bunch of scientists. They didn't tell me much about before I arrived, and I don't really remember. I'm sure you've noticed that a lot of the other merfolk here, they don't really look like me, and she'll gesture to her bright fucking pink ass hair.
I did.
It's an effect of the Coralite being a part of my system. It's never done that before. It just kind of... and then there was the... Yeah. I don't know.
That is fascinating. I don't know either. But that's kind of cool, right? It's something that we both don't know.
Maybe something we could figure out together?
Like true scientists. In the meantime, Calliope hands you a bunch of medical equipment.
Just
I cannot I can't look at you because of the effect right now. And what I do know is that you have multiple lacerations on your arm. So I'm going to walk you through helping yourself, if that's all right.
Yeah. I'm very good at listening to instructions.
Calliope brushes aside some supplies on top of the ring and pats down on the floor. And that's what they're going to be doing for a bit.
Absolutely. And yeah, for the next 15 to 20 minutes here, like Calliope, just kind of staring off into space as you kind of like turn off immediate visuals and just like you pull up into the same sort of like visual cortex space, just like lists and sets of instructions that you basically recite off into the middle distance, not looking at Berengaria as she attempts to basically to the best. And like you definitely go far too fast at first for like.
Whoa, hold on, slow down.
Calliope's very animated, like doing basically Tai Chi as they're trying to like visualize how to do it with their arms.
Watch me and repeat, and you just you're just like rapidly gesticulating,
Sweating profusely underwater.
and
Stressed out singing the foot bone's connected to the shin bone.
And we're gonna just kind of pan away from that. We're gonna actually join the other two of you here, Risubi and Bunk. Bunk, you, in your manner of escape from the collapsing refinery, was a hijacked personal submersible, something basically suitable for high-speed underwater travel for terrestrial creatures not used to moving at speed in these environments. It's not like a full submarine. It's more like you hold on. It's almost like if you imagine the submarine version of a motorcycle. You hold on to basically like handlebars, and then beneath you, you kind of like you take up a streamlined position above it, and there's like a turbine that fires and just kind of like carries you through the surf. However, it did see some minor damage in your escape as you took glancing blows from artillery fire and small arms. So you are kind of off in a corner here, away from the sort of like the din of the small crowd, with Risubi, who I'm assuming you're feeling quite a bit better here, having taken some time. Your little squirrel metabolism has worked through a lot of the medications at this point, and you're definitely up and at 'em.
Yeah, I've gone to my old junkyard and gotten like my secret stash of the good stuff that I was saving for when I finally got an automobile, and I've brought it back here, and like wrench in one hand, like a second wrench in my mouth, balancing it all, trying to fix stuff. And I say to Rasubi, like, I'm gonna level with you here. I did my best to bash the locations where I thought they might keep the GPS just in case someone's tracking this vehicle. I don't know if I got it. Could you either look to try and find it or just keep beating the shit out of it until we make sure they can't track the car back here? Otherwise, I gotta trash it.
I scurry up, take the wrench from your hand, and just holding it like this. I will make sure functionality is at optimal percentages.
Thank you, my friend. I don't know if my soul could have done with losing another car.
Risubi, for your part, you're like leaning heavily on this like wrench that is the size of your entire body. You have this little sort of like almost like a scouter like sort of visual sort of monitor that's kind of hovering over one of your eyes, and it's been kind of an AI subroutine has been scrubbing through all of the conglomerated news footage from all of the events that were taking place up at the refinery. You're basically trying to see if you can find any evidence of what may have happened to your mech suit. Can you just go ahead and give me a difficulty 3 intellect check to see if you can kind of like scrabble through this and find what you're looking for?
Yeah, easy enough. Can I say that my general knowledge skill will help me filter out some of the nonsense databases.
Yeah, either that or your skill for just kind of working with mechanics.
Sure.
This is a design that you created. So like you're basically using your own invention here. So yeah, we'll take it down to a 2.
Okay. 13.
13. So for the rest of this scene, I'm going to assume that you are watching on repeat the dopest footage you've ever seen of you don't see Bahari in the shot, but what you do see is like this kind of shaky cam footage of somebody with like a personal sort of recording device catching sight of what looks like a pair of Valthuran Marines in full sort of like scuba gear. You can tell from the sort of markings and the coloration on the uniform that they're part of a sort of like military engineering corps. And they're coming in, and you know all of this shit on site. They're taking a bunch of anti-grav nodes and connecting them to certain points magnetically onto your sort of ruined chassis here with an attempt to basically like they're going to turn it into a situation where they can remote control, like hover your body basically off the battlefield for a salvage operation. And you just see some glints, and you're like scrolling back and forth, scrubbing through the footage, glints of what look like stardust kind of like arc in, like lobbing into shot. And you can identify these as just raw, crystallized, refined coralite. Like, we're talking just basically like solid nitroglycerin, basically, tossed in like a cluster that make contact with the anti-grav nodes and overclock everything and basically create a sort of positive feedback loop of coralite energy that turns basically into a miniature sort of like energy singularity. Effectively, you watch these little like stardust falls into screen, and then from the center of your ruined husk of a mech suit, a sphere of just like this deep electrical purple nothing expands rapidly out, engulfing the entire chassis as well as the 2 engineers, and then it snaps shut, and the entirety, like, they're all gone, not a trace. Like, it's literally an unmade everything in that space, leaving basically like a perfectly cleared portion of sand on the seafloor where they once stood. And we can assume for the rest of the scene you're kind of watching that a little bit while you're also talking to Bunk.
Yeah. Look, I said, is the engine intact? Rasubi, you with me?
Yes. I look at it and it doesn't seem to have been like if it doesn't seem to have been completely destroyed or something, I'll just go. It may need just a tune-up.
Oh, damn. It was sputtering a little bit at the end. I think it maybe just needs a full tank. I'm not sure. We were getting shot at a little bit.
It's the most that you've ever had. I know you've been looking for one of these.
It is the most that I've ever had. Thank you for keeping that into perspective.
We'll fix this up. So,
I can't tell if you're talking about the car or about something more.
I'll put down the wrench, rub my hands, look at
Little
you.
hands.
Yeah.
It's just tiny little hands.
No, little hands. Look at you. So, which one brought you back?
Calliope.
It was gonna be, if it wasn't Calliope, it would have been one of the other 2.
Yeah, they didn't believe me from the word go. I should have listened to you before. Sorry about it.
Your brand is predictable.
I don't know if I think you needed to choose violence.
Ha, ha, ha. That
Can I ask
sounded
you?
awkward and condescending.
No, I understood what you meant. It was a genuine ha ha ha, I'm sure.
My vocal processor is not the latest.
We'll get it fixed up. Can I ask you a question?
Certainly. I'll pick the wrench back up and another 2 and start like scrubbing some gunk out of the way so I can properly disconnect some of these cables. Please, go ahead.
Did you feel like you were more yourself inside that suit? Or do you feel like you're more yourself now?
I have always been me. That suit was what everybody else saw. It is what I wanted them to see. Risubi, the mech suit, is the physical manifestation of how I feel. Sometimes it is easy to get lost in all of that sheer power.
When Calliope was trying to bring me back, they told me that I was more than a gun. And I don't know when I stopped believing that was true, but for a while there, I didn't want to be anything more than a gun. I'm the edge of the barrel. I'm my revenge. I'm my war. But I'm not fighting the war right now. I'm sitting here fixing a damn car. I don't know what I am if I'm not my revenge.
I disconnect the cable and set it down. I turn to you. Bunk. The mech suit cannot do anything without me inside of it. You impact the world around you with your actions. As violent as they might be, they still have purpose. I do not view you as a weapon. I see you as bunk. But you choose to do with your life, be it destruction, creation, rebellion, reformation. You are more than just a tool.
Bunk finally manages to connect a couple wires and the headlights finally turn back on. And Bunk's able to make them change colors even and sets them on red. Because hell yeah.
Because hell yeah.
Because hell yeah.
And whether you're in a giant suit or just the friend in front of me, it's all Risubi. Thank you for that.
You are welcome. Please understand that you are the closest thing that we all have to family.
I hope you can understand that I don't know what that means, but it is what made me walk away with Calliope. I'll try really hard to live when I fight Marianus. I think I would like to live to see who I am without a war.
And we're going to pan up slightly from this as the two of you have a moment of kind of somber, meaningful silence between the two of you, interrupted only momentarily as Bunk, you just test out revving that sort of turbine for a moment, and then that, it hums, it purrs, you've got this thing tip top.
The guitar is going nuts in my ear right now.
Oh yeah. You've got like a guitar solo in your ear. Risubi's definitely half watching his mech just get like reduced to like being unmade on the molecular level. And with the four of you and then Bahari still tending to the still drowsy, half-conscious Rhoda, Somewhere out there, a small gaggle of urchin children are scoping out a bunch of industrial tunnels for you. And as we kind of phase out of this overcrowded, still somewhat chaotic, basically like pop-up refuge that once was a place of violence is now is a place of profound healing. We're gonna phase a bit somewhere else. We're gonna enter for a moment a small, cramped, hydroponic-looking sort of like botanical laboratory. It seems to be divided into a sort of aquatic flooded half and a dry half, separated by like a doubled wall of plate glass with a small, narrow airlock affixed between them. The ceilings here are tiled with what look like high-powered sun lamps, but all of them are disabled, leaving the space wreathed in shadow, save for the dozens of bioluminescent plant samples that dot the shelves and line the long metallic tables. In the dry portion of the lab, which we see now darkly through the doubled glass barrier, there seem to be large pieces of complex machinery, several massive sort of like computer monitors, as well as centrifuges and microscopes, and what appears to be a miniaturized coralite reactor. A figure is seated at the main monitor in the dry lab, their back turned to the glass. They appear to be hunched over, as if focusing deeply on some task. Zooming into their perspective, they're humanoid. They have these sort of like large sort of headphones on, and they're listening. They're kind of like smirking to themselves. We can hear them listening to familiar voices. Maybe it seems like there's some big set of rules that determine what we can and cannot do, but I think the little things matter, and you've just got to work through it. And he scrubs forward. Do you feel more like you when you're inside that suit? How do you feel more like yourself now? I'd have always been me. As this figure kind of shakes their head, turns over their shoulder, and to someone who isn't there says, "Really? Them?" More power to them. And we fade out of this space as well, as we're gonna call an end to this week's session of Brine Blight.
What?
What's
Spicy.
going on? Those are personal conversations.
Yeah, how dare you?
Oh my god.
You have to tell us if you're lurking.
Legally.
We didn't consent to being recorded. Oh my god.
goodness.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here for another wonderful episode of Brine and Blight. We're going to button up the evening here. We're going to go around and remind you who we are, where you can find us, and what our favorite part of the episode was. And we will start off with Christian.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian, better known as Kappa in most online spaces. You can find me on Twitter at @TheKappaChris. I post most of my updates on what I'm up to. So if you liked what you were watching today and want some more, most of my updates will be on Twitter. I say most, but all of them. A couple of the projects that I want to plug is Roads Uncharted, the first actual play podcast set in the Genesis system by Fantasy Flight Games. We just added a new character to the roster. Sebastian Yu is going to be joining us as Trix, as a permanent cast member. We have been recording the season, and oh my god, like such a cool addition to the misadventures of 8 and Row, and now Tricks. So go check out Roads Uncharted anywhere you can find your favorite podcasts to listen in. It's a really fun adventure. But yeah, that's the thing I want to plug today.
Oh, is your favorite part?
Oh, my favorite part. I loved Berengaria doing the anecdote. Anecdote is so OP. I love it. It's good. And then also like just calling out each like parts of the party members that are there for the community, and just it was beautiful. Finding light for the citizens of Maribas and the district, so that, you know, giving them hope, you know, through all the panic and the violence and all that stuff. Stella, that was my favorite part. That was really cool, honestly. I played Risubi, the currently not in a mech squirrel perceptive warrior who needs no weapon.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go next so that I don't have to worry about my favorite part getting taken. Hi, I'm Stella Luna. Welcome.
Dang
This
it.
is my channel.
Oh, man.
If you enjoyed our content, please give us a follow either here or on YouTube. That is a free way that you get notifications for when we go live, and you get to see more of this stuff. And it's a way that you can support us. My favorite part is the end. It was so spicy. Adam, why do you do this to me? Yeah. Oh God. That whole conversation. Okay, the line of "you are more than a gun," like that will haunt me for the rest of my life. Z, that was so good. And I love it's just gonna keep coming back over and over and over again. And I love that so freaking much. I also love that, I'll be totally honest, I on purpose didn't say like go over here to get something from Bunk, because Berengaria wasn't a part of that conversation. I didn't know. And I like knives in games, and I'm sorry.
Right in the heart.
Mhm.
Yep.
I'm
No,
sorry.
it's perfect. It's perfect.
Okay. Z.
Hi, Robbed Z. Like punished snake and
Punish
okay.
Z.
Punish
Yeah.
Z.
Punish Z coming out with the I have favorite parts besides that. But first of all, I'm Z. I'm Zach. You can find me on Twitter at ZachDevs. Today I played Calliope, the sharp-eyed adept who fuses mind and machine. And love this character. Love this group. What are some things to plug? Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, you can catch me on Bad House RPG playing Ashes of New Amsterdam. My favorite part. There's a lot, because this crew always drums up things that haunt me for hours after these sessions. You know what? Rasubi being splooted out, and talking. You said you were like inference, and you were like started talking. Yeah, the image of this squirrel who is so tired and so hurt, just being there like inference, and just talking through some logical things. Well, like I think with Rasubi, I has such a strong emotional reaction, mostly due to your role play of Rasubi, but I think it captures a lot of like, first of all, the concept is funny, but beyond that, there isn't like an actual well of honor to Rasubi that you like is tangibly respectable. And also Rasubi's cute, but also you feel so bad for Rasubi a lot of the time. So A+ from me, Z.
Hell yeah.
Resplooty.
Resplooty.
How dare all of you?
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, Jay couldn't join us today, but please go follow Jay at @JayJustice on all social media. You can check out her links there in the chat. If you're also happen to be going to GDC you will be able to find Jay there. So please stop by, say hi, let her know you saw some Brine Blight, tell her that we miss her, tell her that she missed some juicy throw play today where it was so spicy. But thank you. Yes. We're going to pass it over to the TricksyWizard duo. Trout.
Ha! Me first. Hi, I'm Trout. My partner Adam and I make TricksyWizard comics. You can find us at TricksyWizard on all social media and at TricksyWizard.com. We made a card game with Mage Hand Press called Witchy Kicks that was just funded on Kickstarter. Yay! And we just finished the stretch goal card, The Muscle Witches, and we'll be posting those tomorrow. They're really cool. And I played Bunk, a brash sniper who's wanted by the law. As ever, it's impossible to pick a favorite moment, and all my friends take some of my favorites before I get to talk. But I really loved both character conversations at the end. I love how everyone in this group has very specific things, like points of connection between each other. So it's just like this boundless, wonderful jubilee of character development. And also, I'm gonna say I'm taking a bunch. I don't care. I do what I want. I love the beginning of the Anastas Koi mystery. I think that's a really fun little hook for us. And I love that to call the sea urchins, now you have to say, well. And the answer, what's all this then? Get them
I think that's a GM intrusion, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that counts as an intrusion. Yeah, totally.
All right, Adam. I'm done.
Hey, hi there. I'm Adam. I'm the other half of TricksyWizard. Trout already gave you the rundown there, but also while we're talking about witchy Kickstarters, go check out All the Witches.
Yeah.
On Kickstarter right now. Our dear friend Emma and her team of collaborators, which includes us a little bit. We did some art on that. It's currently just smashing through stretch goals on Kickstarter. It's an incredible game. Go show them some support.
Make it smash more.
Smash more.
Smash more.
My favorite part, I'm sorry, I can't get over the conversation at the end, specifically between Risubi and Bunk. The two lines that got me, the fact that like Risubi is so incisively perceptive, and I know that's like literally your descriptor, but the one was like, so which one brought you back? Like the opening with that, and then ending beautifully with Bunk going like, I want to find out who I am without a war. I like truly.
Some real Captain America shit right there, Trout. Some real Steve Rogers garbage. I love it.
Some incredible, like, what a way to bookend a sort of like last scene. I love that the quiet moments can be as impactful as some of the big explodey ones in this game. Thank you all for making that happen with me. But yeah, that's it for me.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. Please join us for more Brine Blight next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Please take care of yourselves. Make sure you drink water and eat your gummies. I forgot to eat mine this morning, and that was my character bleeding through. Anyway. All right. Who's got the pun? Who's got the pun?
No pun. Just stay hydrated.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
No
Drink
pun.
water. Eat your gummies.
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
Go albatross, a like and follow to all the witches.
Okay, no.
I did it.
No,
I've done it. It's too late.
Strike it from the record.
Albatross?
They're seabirds.
It counts. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Good night. Bye.